So, I'm doing a video on the Traxxas slash 4x4, somewhat of a solution for the drive shaft opening at the bottom of the chassis, which allows in all of the dirt and rocks and stuff into the drive shaft, and it gets grinded up. And if you've got the 4x4, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And after going online and looking at what people do, you know, some people are doing the what is it? The shrink wrap and the electrical tape to kind of minimize the gap at the drive shaft. This video is for a skid plate that I just built. Some standard piece of like sheet metal from Home Depot for about $2, and basically cut it up with the proper dimensions, and it'll go under here on the back. I'll switch it down real quick. So the idea of this is to block some of the initial dirt and rocks that will make it into the drive shaft. It's another concern we had, though, is if we block it off, we don't want to trap the rocks, you know, in that opening. We don't want to trap them there and let them get in because they have nowhere to go. So it's an open back system. It'll basically slide in right underneath this plate. You got a pre-drilled hole right here which will keep it in place. Slide it in, and then bolt this back on just like you would if it wasn't there. By going under this plate, you'll have no protrusions coming out off of that plate. And then see that. Then I've gone through and pre-drilled 2 more holes. One right in front of the battery, in the battery compartment, right there, and one right in there. I don't know if you can see that. And those will go through and bolt in right on my 2 plates back here. You can see it. It's under view. So you're not really, it's about 3/4 of an inch off the body. It bolts in right there. It's open so that any dirt that comes in can escape out the sides here. It does block it up here, but leaves room for the servos to move. I'll go through and bolt it on now, but technically you're losing a little bit of ground clearance on the bottom, but nothing hangs lower than the front end, so you're not really losing any ground clearance that you wouldn't cover on the front end anyway. And then anything that does get in can just exit out the back or out the sides, but it's going to block the majority of the dirt and rocks from ever making it to that opening in the first place, and ultimately it just adds extra rigidity and covering for your servo, you know, being exposed, and your drive shaft. So I've got it fully installed now. I actually ended up making a few more holes for these side panels right behind the steering rods, one on either side, and it really just gives it, as you can see it from the top, it really just gives the whole body some rigidity. I mean, it's thin metal too. It's not much thicker than a tin can, but once you give it its anchor points right here, and then 2 underneath, Really gives it some nice rigidity. If you are interested in the dimensions of this plate, or possibly, I can build one for you for pretty cheap, just give me an email, or respond to this video, or email me, and we can go from there. Thanks.